What if I told you that the single greatest wealth transfer in modern history is not happening in the stock markets of Wall Street or the tech hubs of Silicon Valley, is instead quietly unfolding right now in the heart of the Middle East, centered on a currency that many in the West have written off as a mere souvenir? The Iraqi dinar, a currency that has been the subject of endless speculation, hope, and skepticism for decades, is now showing a series of concrete, undeniable signs that point toward a revaluation event that is not only possible, but is being actively engineered by the Iraqi government in collaboration with international powers. We are not talking about the baseless rumors that flood online forums. We are talking about fundamental shifts in economic policy, geopolitical realignment, and hard infrastructure projects that all converge on a single inevitable conclusion: the Iraqi dinar is being prepared for a return to its historical robust value. For years, the narrative has been controlled by two opposing sides: the ultra-optimistic gurus promising overnight millionaire status and the mainstream financial analysts who dismiss the dinar entirely as a scam. The truth, as it often does, lies buried in the middle, and it is far more compelling than either extreme. The key to understanding this moment is to look past the noise and focus on the tangible actions being taken on the ground in Baghdad and in the halls of international finance. The Central Bank of Iraq has been engaged in a relentless, multi-pronged campaign to strengthen the currency's foundations, and they are doing so with a clear and public timeline. One of the most significant yet underreported moves has been the aggressive push to de-dollarize the Iraqi economy. For years, the US dollar was the dominant currency for large transactions and imports within Iraq, which inherently suppressed the demand and perceived strength of the dinar. But recent government mandates, enforced with increasing strictness, are forcing commercial banks, importers, and even everyday citizens to conduct business exclusively in Iraqi dinar. This is not a random policy shift. It is a surgical strike designed to create massive internal demand for the currency. When a nation's own currency becomes the mandatory medium for all its economic activity, the fundamental laws of supply and demand kick in. The demand for dinar skyrockets within its own borders, which creates immense upward pressure on its value. This is Economics 101, and it is being implemented with precision. Furthermore, the central bank has been actively raising the exchange rate of the dinar against the dollar in a series of controlled, incremental adjustments. Many observers mistakenly see these small fluctuations as mere volatility, but when you chart them over the past 18 months, a clear and deliberate trend emerges: a steady, managed appreciation. This is the central bank testing the waters, strengthening the currency's muscle before the main event. They are carefully managing the transition to avoid the kind of economic shock that could come from a sudden, massive revaluation, while simultaneously signaling to the international market that the dinar is no longer a weak, stagnant currency. They are building confidence, step by step, transaction by transaction. This is coupled with a dramatic crackdown on corruption and money laundering operations that have historically plagued the currency's value. New banking regulations, stringent compliance requirements for international transfers, and high-profile arrests of financial criminals are all part of a comprehensive cleanup operation. The government is systematically removing the structural weaknesses that have kept the dinar artificially suppressed for so long. You cannot launch a world-class currency on a foundation of financial fraud and loopholes. Iraq is finally acknowledging this and is taking the painful but necessary steps to scrub its financial system clean. The stage is being set, the pieces are being moved into place, and the first act of this economic revolution is already underway. This isn't speculation, it is the analysis observable, reported policy in action. The hidden signs are all there, visible to anyone who knows where to look and how to interpret the data that the mainstream financial world is choosing to ignore. The domestic economic reforms are only one piece of this intricate puzzle. The true scale of the revaluation plan becomes terrifyingly clear when you widen the lens to encompass the seismic geopolitical and infrastructural deals Iraq is currently brokering, deals that are fundamentally incompatible with a weak and unstable currency. Imagine for a moment the sheer audacity of the Development Road Project, a $17 billion land bridge and rail network stretching from the Grand Fall port in southern Iraq directly into Turkey and European markets. This isn't just a construction project. It is a statement of intent, a direct challenge to global shipping lanes, and a deliberate positioning of Iraq as the new central trade hub between Asia and Europe. Now, ask yourself a critical question: do you build a $17 billion world-class economic corridor and then conduct all its transactions, attract all its international investment, and pay all its contractors in a currency that is considered a joke on the global stage? The answer is a resounding and logical no. The very existence of this project necessitates a strong, internationally recognized and easily convertible Iraqi dinar. International investors from sovereign wealth funds to multinational construction corporations will not pour billions into an economy and then accept payment in a volatile, weak currency. The financial risk would be catastrophic. They will demand stability and value, which means the dinar must be revalued to a level that inspires confidence and facilitates seamless, multi-billion-dollar transactions. This project alone creates an undeniable economic imperative for a revaluation. Now, layer onto this the recent and groundbreaking gas deal with France's Total Energies, a multi-billion-dollar agreement to capture and utilize flared gas from Iraq's oil fields to generate electricity. This is not merely an energy agreement, it is a massive transfer of technology and expertise, project that will finally allow Iraq to achieve energy independence and even become a net exporter of power. Such a monumental shift does not just improve the quality of life for citizens, it fundamentally transforms the nation's balance of payments, slashing its import bills and creating new, massive streams of export revenue. A country with a strong, diversified economy and a positive trade balance inherently possesses a strong currency. Iraq is systematically building that diversified, powerful economy right before our eyes, and the currency must and will reflect this new reality. Furthermore, observe Iraq's diplomatic frenzy, its careful navigation between global superpowers. They are strengthening ties with both the East and the West, playing a delicate and strategic game that ensures no single power can destabilize their economic ascent. This nuanced foreign policy is designed to create a stable and secure environment for the new currency to thrive. A nation on the brink of collapse does not broker these kinds of long-term, high-stakes international partnerships. A nation on the cusp of an economic renaissance does. All these elements, the development road, the Total Energies gas deal, the strategic diplomacy, are interconnected threads of a single grand strategy. They are not random, isolated events. They are coordinated moves on a global chessboard. And the queen in this game is the Iraqi dinar. The revaluation is not a standalone event that will happen in a vacuum. It is the essential financial key required to unlock the full potential of these nation-defining projects. It is the necessary mechanism to attract the scale of foreign direct investment needed to ensure the profitability and sustainability of these ventures, and to finally allow Iraq to take its rightful place as an economic powerhouse, not just an oil-rich state. The infrastructure being built today is the physical manifestation of the economic strength that the new dinar will represent tomorrow. To believe in the reality of these projects is to logically accept the inevitability of a significant currency revaluation. The two are inextricably linked. One cannot exist without the other. The evidence is no longer hidden in central bank memos. It is being poured in concrete and steel across the Iraqi landscape and signed in historic agreements in international boardrooms. So, where does this leave us, the observers, the analysts, and the potential investors watching this historic transformation unfold from the sidelines? It brings us to the most critical and personal phase of this entire process, the window of opportunity. Every fundamental economic indicator, every geopolitical maneuver, and every infrastructural blueprint points toward a single, converging point in the very near future, the moment the Central Bank of Iraq officially announces the new, revalued exchange rate. This is not a matter of if anymore for those who have been paying attention to the evidence. It is a matter of when. And in the world of finance and global economics, the when is everything. The individuals who recognize the signs and understand the underlying mechanics of this event before it becomes headline news on every major financial network in the world are the ones who will be positioned to benefit. Once that official announcement is made, the window for acquiring the currency at its current pre-revaluation rate slams shut forever. The mad rush will begin, and the opportunity for genuine, life-altering wealth generation will have passed for the vast majority. This is the nature of these rare, paradigm-shifting economic events. They reward foresight, patience, and the courage to act on analysis before the crowd catches on. Think about the people who invested in emerging market currencies after a major war or reconstruction period, those who saw the potential in a nation rebuilding itself. History is filled with examples of those who achieved financial freedom not by following the herd, but by diligently researching and understanding a unique opportunity that others were too skeptical or too uninformed to see. The Iraqi dinar presents precisely such a unique, evidence-based opportunity. It is the convergence of a nation's desperate need for a strong currency to fuel its rebirth and the tangible, physical proof that this rebirth is already underway. The narrative that this is a mere scam is itself becoming a dated and debunked notion, pushed by those who have not updated their information beyond the headlines of 2003. The Iraq of today is not the Iraq of 2 decades ago. It is a nation aggressively modernizing its financial sector, building futuristic infrastructure, and securing its energy independence. To dismiss the dinar's potential today based on the chaos of the past is like dismissing the potential of a phoenix because you once saw it as a pile of ashes. The call to action for you right now is to become your own analyst. Do not take my word for it. I urge you to go and research the Development Road project. Read the official reports from the Iraqi Ministry of Planning. Look up the details of the TotalEnergies gas deal. Study the recent monetary policy statements from the Central Bank of Iraq regarding de-dollarization. The data is all there publicly available, waiting for anyone with the curiosity and diligence to find it. Connect the dots yourself. See how these massive billion-dollar projects create an undeniable logical pathway to a strong national currency. This is about empowering yourself with information that is not being broadcast on mainstream financial news, which often focuses on short-term stock fluctuations and ignores these slower-moving, far more powerful global economic shifts. The journey to understanding this potential is a journey of education and independent verification. The time for passive observation is over. The signs are no longer hidden. They are being built across the deserts of Iraq and documented in international trade agreements. The question is no longer about the validity of the revaluation, but about your own readiness to understand the evidence and what you intend to do with this knowledge before the world finally wakes up to the new economic reality that is being born in the cradle of civilization. This is the moment where your insight meets action. I have laid out the evidence connecting the economic reforms to the geopolitical shifts and the physical infrastructure rising from the ground. But this conversation is far from over. Your perspective is vital. Go down into the comments section right now and tell me which piece of evidence resonated most with you. Was it the sheer scale of the Development Road project, the strategic importance of the gas deal, or the deliberate monetary policy of the central bank? Let's discuss this further. And because knowledge is power, your next step is absolutely critical. Do not let this information simply sit here. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because in my next video, we are going to dive even deeper. We will be breaking down the exact step-by-step process of how a currency revaluation is technically executed, what it means for international investors, and the potential timelines we are looking at based on project completion dates. You will not want to miss it. This is more than just news. It's a front-row seat to history in the making. Subscribe now, join the community, and let's continue to decode the future together.